Thank you for taking the time to participate in this important orientation to the Foursquare Hub. In 2013, our movement embarked on a journey that became known as Reimagine Foursquare. This journey came with a solemn commitment from our president, board, and executive leadership team. A commitment with 5 parts that we have called the 5 stakes. 1. Align everything to the Great Commission. 2. Align the national church office and district offices to a catalytic culture. 3. Align 100% of the tithe to the field, local, and district. 4. Align Foursquare Foundation to resourcing and supporting the Foursquare mission. And 5. Align polity to provide property options for local churches. Over a span of 4 months, many of us who serve you from the Foursquare Central Office traveled around this country to participate in town hall meetings to hear from leaders like you about the things that were on your heart concerning the future of our movement. Throughout these gatherings, we heard a reoccurring theme: the desire for more clarity, training, and resourcing in the areas of church finance and administration, as well as reports that align to mission while giving opportunity for a church to tell its ministry story. Upon further investigation, we realized that much of this stems from a pendulum swing that happened many years ago when we changed reporting systems from the gold sheet, which was extremely detailed and even a little confining, to the current Foursquare Church monthly report in the Ezra database, which was so streamlined that it did not encourage church leaders to track income and expenses in accordance with applicable government regulations. We also realized that the activities report had not been updated to reflect current ministry practices. We heard you and responded with a task force comprised of leaders from around the nation and representing local church, district, and national functions who have collaborated together to identify and implement a new enterprise-level database solution to replace our long-standing system known as Ezra. After a very extensive vetting process involving leaders at every level of our organization, our board of directors authorized the purchase of a very robust and cutting-edge software solution that has been named the Foursquare Hub. This solution comes at a very critical time in our nation when the climate is changing and pressure is being exerted on churches to be fully aware and in compliance with the many regulations that govern the nonprofit sector. So I ask that you, as a Foursquare minister, make the investment of your time and energy and fully engage with these trainings so that we can collectively raise the bar of proficiency with regard to financial stewardship for the Foursquare movement and tell the stories of transformation in your community through the multiplication of disciples, leaders, churches, and movements.
Hello, Foursquare family. Thank you for your kingdom investment and partnership in ministry. I am excited to share with you today about some of the helpful resources available to you through our new information database, the Foursquare Hub. I believe that we, as a movement, are poised like never before to make advancements in our shared business practices and the way we steward our God-given resources. As Tammy just explained some of the underlying reasons that motivated these changes, I'm excited to tell you about some of the resources that have been developed to ensure your church's success in raising the bar of financial stewardship to an even higher level in the season ahead. I would like to tell you about 3 important types of resources that have been and will continue to be developed in the coming months. These resources have been specifically designed to be plug and play for your church and to give you the practical tools that you need to effectively manage the business aspects of your ministry. These 3 types of resources are: number 1, training videos on topics like church bookkeeping, budgeting, compensation practices, and other business topics that are important for every pastor to know. Number 2, templates, budget templates, QuickBook files that have been pre-configured to generate reports for your church council and to easily complete the Foursquare monthly report, along with tutorials to show you how to use them. And number 3, the online toolkit. This online toolkit will not only serve as a delivery system for the trainings and templates that I just mentioned, but is loaded with over 120 different resources like manuals, how-to guides, forms, diagrams, and more. This toolkit is available today at foursq.ca/toolkit. And everything that I just mentioned is available both in Spanish and English. These resources are free and available for download anytime and from anywhere. and your district office team is well trained to use these resources and available to help you to contextualize them and implement them specifically for your church. We believe that these resources will help ministry leaders to have peace of mind in knowing that their church is fully compliant with the many important laws that govern the nonprofit sector. Ultimately, our goal has been to stimulate a culture shift, not only by raising the bar with our national reporting, but by providing practical tools, training, and technology that will be a benefit for your church and will help you reach new levels of fruitfulness. We pray that these tools are a blessing to you, and we look forward to hearing the many testimonials of financial breakthrough that we believe will naturally result from this intentional focus on biblical stewardship.
As we conclude this video, I'd like to take a moment and briefly explain a few of the important changes to the new Foursquare Monthly Church Report, or FMCR for short, and the key reasons behind those changes. As you're probably aware, there are two parts to the FMCR, a section to report missional activity and another section for financial activity. The changes to the missional section are the result of an evolving landscape of how local churches are ministering in their communities using a variety of models that differ from the traditional Sunday morning services or temple church model. Today, there are many different expressions of church. There are churches in houses, beaches, schools, prisons, skateboard parks, and even churches that move around. The new FMCR has features that will allow you to describe your church's activities in a way that's qualitative as well as quantitative, and allows you to track both main and supplemental services. The great thing about the new format is that you can build the report in a way that best represents your ministry using as much or as little detail as you need. There's no longer a one-size-fits-all report format. And the new printable report gives some great information for the church leadership and council to review. There's even a narrative section to tell the story of what's happening at the church beyond what the statistics show. The changes to the financial section of the FMCR were specifically designed to help every Foursquare church stay in the good graces of Uncle Sam. Although churches are exempt from many kinds of taxes, there are several tax-related laws that every church leader should know about. So the new FMCR has been designed to highlight three important types of regulations. When it comes to donations or charitable gifts, churches are required to track and spend unrestricted or available money separately from donations that have been restricted or earmarked by donors. In the former iterations of the FMCR, the term designated funds has been used to describe this, but that's technically not the correct term. See, there's an important distinction in the regulations between gifts that have a donor-imposed restriction and money that has been earmarked by the church leadership or church council for a particular purpose. Donor-restricted funds are legally restricted and must be accounted for separately, whereas council designations can be lifted or changed at any time. The changes in the FMCR, along with the tools and the trainings that are now available, will help church leaders both understand and adhere to these important IRS rules. The next change has to do with employment law, or regulations over the way people are paid. Personnel, or people who are paid by the church, basically fall into one of two categories. They are either, 1, common law employees, which is a category where most individuals fall, and common law employees may be entitled to vacation pay or other benefits like overtime, and their wages must be reported to the IRS on a Form W-2. Or 2, some personnel may be paid as independent contractors who are responsible for their own taxes, benefits, and insurance, and who must first qualify to be considered truly independent. See, the government requires churches to report wages to independent contractors on a Form 1099, and there can be some steep penalties both for failing to issue 1099s and for misclassifying wage earners as independent when they're really employees. It's also important to note that changes associated with the Affordable Care Act are causing the IRS to put much greater scrutiny on the classification of personnel than ever before. The new FMCR now has fields to report contract labor separately from regular salaries and wages. And as Adam mentioned, we also now have great resources to help correctly classify people who are paid by your church. The new FMCR also has a section where churches can report income and expenses from aligned businesses. Aligned businesses can be things like schools, bookstores, coffee shops, rental property, or other income-generating operations that fall outside the scope of religious worship services. See, sometimes churches find creative, entrepreneurial ways to bring in extra resources to the ministry, and this is great, but there's a chance that those activities may not be tax exempt, and churches may owe taxes to Uncle Sam. So to help with these issues, the financial section of the new FMCR includes a few new categories to help church leaders with things like employee classification, tracking donor restrictions, and a section for aligned business activity that has a few questions that will help to assess whether those activities may be subject to a tax called UBIT, or unrelated business income tax. Also, the Foursquare Hub comes with detailed printable instructions, tutorial videos, and on-screen tooltips to help you with every step of this report. Our hope and prayer is that these important changes, which have been built into the Foursquare Hub, will not only help your church to be above reproach with financial stewardship, but also help you take things to the next level in impacting the community that you serve.
We want to thank you in advance for taking time to invest in this training. We believe it'll be a great gift to you and your church as you tell your ministry story, and collectively we advance the mission of God through the Foursquare Church.